Thank you everyone for coming. And over the next 5, 6, 7 hours, we're going to be hearing many powerful thoughts, many powerful ideas on this amazing day of Tish'a BeAb. May Hashem help us. Everyone's going to connect to a different idea, to a different thought. May Hashem help us take away one thing that we can maybe use after today throughout the rest of the year, bringing Mashiach one step closer every day at a time. Amen. What's interesting is that Tish'a BeAb is a day where we're not our best. We're not successful today. It's a day that we don't really act our finest. We don't really say hello to people. It's kind of a day that we shut down. We're not eating. We're not smiling. We're not on our best behavior. It's a day that is, I guess, the opposite of every single other day of the year. If every single day of the year we're trying to succeed, on Tish'a BeAb, the goal is to not succeed. We don't learn Torah. Don't do the Daf Yomi today. You were up to date, every single one. Today, stop. And the question is, why? Shouldn't we be living every single day to the max? Shouldn't we be trying to be the best that we can be every single day? 365. Not 364, 365. And all of a sudden, Tish'a BeAb comes, and it's a day in the year that we're just on pause. And we don't accomplish, we don't move forward. So question number one, why? Question number two, something very interesting that we're going to find in another 20 or so minutes, and that is when we get to Chatzot, when we get to midday, all of a sudden, everybody is going to be able to get up off the floor. All of a sudden, we're going to start reading those psukim of Nachamu. Nachamu, Nachamu Ami. There's a certain comfort. If this Shabbat is called Shabbat Chazon, next Shabbat is called Shabbat Nachamu. Nachamu means be comforted. Be comforted, my people. The Navi is comforting us. We are receiving comfort. After today, we'll be moving forward. We move on. Tish'a BeAb is behind us. And the question is, why are we comforting ourselves? Are we delusional? I mean, what is the goal of Tish'a BeAb? If I were to ask you, what is the goal of today? In one sentence. The goal of today is not to listen to as many classes as possible. It's not to cry. It's not to sit on the floor and to get dirty. The goal of today is to bring Beit HaMikdash. A successful Tish'a BeAb would be defined, did we bring it? Is it here? Is Mashiach here? If Mashiach is here, great job, we did it, Hazaku Baruch. And if it's not here, we failed. This was not a successful Tish'a BeAb. But no, Nachamu, Nachamu Ami. Be comforted, everyone. Great job. You did it. Did what? Just imagine, if I could give a mashal, a person on Sukkot. We know that on Sukkot we take the lulav, we take the etrog, and we raise it high, and we say Hoshana, and we walk around. And according to many mefarshim, the idea of the lulav, of the etrog, is we're waving our swords in victory. Like when soldiers come back from battle. We did it. Great job. Imagine a guy somehow were to find out on Sukkot that your Yom Kippur that you just had, that everyone is celebrating with their lulav and etrog. Yom Kippur was successful. We got forgiven. We're given another year. Just imagine one guy were to find out that he's not going to make it. Imagine on Yom Kippur, Navi came to him and said, by the way, God didn't hear your prayers this year. you're not going to get that shidduch. You're not going to get that job. You're not going to get that child you're praying for. And then you see the guy on Sukkot. Oh, Shana. What are you doing? You failed. It was an unsuccessful Yom Kippur. Why are you celebrating? So I guess what I'm really asking is, what's the goal? How do we measure a successful Tish'a BeAb? Rabbi Bernstein explains with a beautiful mashal. He says, imagine a guy, I show you this person, who has it all cut out. He has his spot at the gym. He's got his, at lunch, everyone moves aside, he goes first. He got his bed that he wanted. Guy's living life. And then you take a step back and you zoom out. And you realize that this guy that we're talking about, the guy who's first online at lunch and gym, and he's got his bed, this guy's in jail. And you go to the guy, and he say, buddy, you want to get out? I could speak to the president. I could get you out of here. He'll look at you and ask you, why? What do you mean, get me out? Get me out of what? What are you talking about? I'm living life. It's perfect here. I got everything I want. What do you mean? Everyone here is so jealous of me. I have the best life. I got the spot that I want. I have the bed that I want. I have the system I want. I got the friends. Everybody respects me. Everybody fears me. Why would I want to leave such an amazing system? And you look at the guy and you feel bad, because you realize that this guy's whole definition of success is wrong. In a way, his success is stopping him from actually going out into the real world and being really successful. In a way, because he has it so good, he'll never want to leave. Our job on Tish'a BeAb is one thing: to realize that we are not successful. And with success like this, I am in trouble. And 364 days a year, we go through the day, we go through life, and we feel like, I'm great, I'm doing good, life's successful, I have whatever I want, I have whatever I need. And on Tish'a BeAb, our rabbis say, stop. Don't have your lunch. Stop working out. Don't go on vacation. Don't go through your system. Don't watch the shows that you're usually watching. One day a year, stop and realize, I am not okay where I am. The goal of Tish'a BeAb is to realize that we're in trouble. The goal of Tish'a BeAb is to be uncomfortable. And that is a very hard concept for us to understand. Because we say, I don't understand. I have an amazing life. I got everything I want. I have convenience. We have schools, we've got camps, we've got vacation, we got winter vacation, we got Pesach vacation, and Thanksgiving vacation, and then in the middle of the summer we're going on another vacation, we're going to Europe, we're going to Italy, we're going to France, we're going wherever you want. We have it all. LG. Life's good. Life's great. I have everything life has to offer. I don't understand. What is the problem? Where are we failing? Why should we want Mashiach? What is Mashiach going to give me that I don't already have? We have money. We are the convenience generation. You want to make money today? Invent something that makes people's lives easier. And you will sell. Uber, Amazon, Netflix, Uber Eats. Teacher asked the class, name 3 sources of food. It said plants, animals, and Uber Eats. We have it all. What are we missing? We have online forms to sell chametz. You don't even have to leave your house to sell the chametz anymore. You could do a virtual hatarat nedarim. We got audiobooks. We got voice notes. We got double speed on the voice notes. You don't have to listen to the guy speaking slow. You can go double. And then when he leaves you a answering machine, when he leaves you a message on your phone that you can double speed, you're like, oh my God, why are you texting me, dude? WhatsApp me. It's much faster. We got everything that we ever wanted. We could ask Siri where we parked our car. We have e-books, e-bikes, audio, whatever it is, you name it. Everything today is just so convenient. Everything today is so comfortable. And if someone were to come in to say to you, you want Mashiach? Are you ready? What do you mean? What's Mashiach for? What are we missing? Have a great life. And no matter who you are this year, a Yankee fan or Mets fan, you're good. Because they're both in first place. How often does that happen? We're missing nothing today. It's all great. Everything that we could ever want, all the luxuries of life, all the pleasant things that life has to offer. Even Tish'a BeAb, a day that we're supposed to be uncomfortable. We figured out how to be as comfortable as possible. We have our special chair that meets the requirements that we could sit on. That's exactly under 3 tefachim, and it's just as comfortable as I need. And we got our caffeine pills, and we got our Listerine strips, if your rabbi allowed. Whatever we want, we got it all. It's amazing. We figured out our schedule. At 12, I'm going to listen to this rabbi on that website. And then at 12:45, I'm going to go to that synagogue. And then at 1:30, and we have a whole schedule how we're going to go through the day with as little pain as possible. And we get a little hungry or a headache at 4 p.m. for 5-10 minutes. God, Rabbi, I have a headache. I got to eat. I'm going to die. Today, it's all about convenience. And most of us, let's be honest, how many of us really want Mashiach? If God came and said, right now, take you to the promised land, I'll take you to Israel, I will give you Beit HaMikdash, how many of us would grab it? I don't know, God. Depends. You know? I have a really nice house over here. Are you going to give me an equivalent location in Israel? Am I going to get a similar real estate? You know, I'm on the corner of S and Ocean Park. What am I going to get? I mean, are you going to give me the Kotel overlooking? Then maybe, I get it. Fine. We want to make sure. Great story is told of a rabbi who went to speak to a community. And he spoke about the Mashiach. He said, Mashiach's going to come. We got to start moving to Israel. Everybody pack your bags. Start going. One step at a time. Kibbutz galuyot. We got to gather everybody from all over the world. And this one guy, he goes after the speech. He's so inspired. He runs to his wife. He says, honey, Rabbi spoke about this thing, Mashiach. She's like, what's Mashiach? He's like, oh, honey, it's the best thing. Mashiach, we're going to go to Israel. Let's go. Pack your bags. She's like, pack your bags? We got our farm. We got our hens and chickens and cows and roosters and goats and sheep. What do you mean, pack your bags? It's not that simple. What's it going to be? We have our livelihood. We sell eggs and milk. You can't just pack our bags and go to Israel. He goes, wow, I didn't think of that. He runs back. He says, Rabbi, I spoke to my wife. I pitched it to her. And she's like, semi on board, but She asked a good question. What about our parnasah? What about our chicken? What about our roosters? We have our livelihood over here. The rabbi looks at him. He says, are you out of your mind? Roosters? Cows? Who cares about roosters and cows? We got the Cossacks that are killing us. We got pogroms. They're killing Jews, anti-Semites. You cared about your farm? You go to Israel. There's no more headaches. Mashiach comes. He frees us from the Cossacks. He says, great. Wow, Rabbi, I love it. He runs back. He says, honey, it's true. We got our farm in our hand. But we also have the Cossacks. They're killing us. They hate us. Mashiach, take us away from that. The wife smiles. She says, I have a great idea. Let Mashiach come and take the Cossacks to Israel. You know who wants Mashiach? You know who wants Mashiach? I'll tell you who wants it. I'll tell you who will say yes if God came right now and offered Mashiach. You know who would say yes? The one that's having a hard time finding their shidduch. That's who's going to say yes. The guy that's having a hard time with his business. The one that can't have children yet. The one who's sick. The one who's suffering. Those are the people that will say yes. And even them, by the way, the moment Prince Charming walks in through the door, I'm good, God. I don't need Mashiach anymore. He's here. We figured it out. We're okay. Guy once came to the rabbi. He says, Rabbi, this man walks over to me. He wants me to join him in business. What do you think? Should I accept? Rabbi says, well, I think he's an honest guy. Give me a few days to think about it. A few days later, comes back, says, so Rabbi, what do you think? Rabbi says, don't join him in business. He says, wow, okay, thank you for telling me. What happened? He's a thief, he's a liar, he backstabbed people in the past. He says, no, none of that. But the rabbi said the other day, Friday, many men have the custom to go to the mikveh. He says, the other day when I was in the mikveh, I heard this man, as he was dipping, he started moaning and saying, oh, Hashem, we need Mashiach already. I said, if this guy needs Mashiach, business must not be good. So why do we need Mashiach? We have it all made out. We got our camps and our schools and our systems and our homes. We got a winter home. We got a summer home. Maybe we have a third house somewhere for Pesach. Who knows? And that is the problem, my friends. The problem is that the only people we ever think about are ourselves. We are a selfish generation. And if I'm okay, why do I need Mashiach? And we never care to look at the people next to us. But maybe the guy next to me wants Mashiach. Maybe the person, maybe my neighbor. Yes, I have a shidduch, but what about my friend? She doesn't. My neighbor is struggling to put food on the table. There are so many people that don't have children. So many people that are not healthy. So many people that are not making it to the end of the year. That are not able to afford tuition. So it's true, we're okay. And that's the problem. The problem is we're only thinking about us. If I'm okay, then what's the problem? Gemara tells us, Masechet Gitin, Kamtza u'Bar Kamtza. These two gentlemen, Kamtza and Bar Kamtza, destroyed the temple. I want to share with you quickly this Gemara. I'm sure you may hear it today from another speaker. But Gemara tells us that this gentleman was having a party. He was having a wedding of some sort. And he told the wedding planner, the party planner, to invite his friend Kamtza. Well, the party planner goes out and by mistake invites Bar Kamtza. And Bar Kamtza is this person's enemy. So, this guy's at his own party, l'chaim's everybody, all of a sudden he sees Bar Kamtza sitting at his own party. He walks over to him, he says, who the heck invited you? Get out of my party. Now Bar Kamtza, about to be, escorted out. Everyone's going to be watching him. Just imagine how embarrassing. So he says, please, don't make a scene. I'll pay you for my plate. Whatever it costs you a head, I'll pay for my person. The guy says, no, get out. He says, all right, listen, please. Just don't make a big scene. Don't embarrass me. I'll pay you for half the party. Guy says, no, get out. He says, all right, listen. Don't make a scene. I'll pay you for the whole party. It must have not been a destination wedding. Maybe a takana wedding or something. I'll pay you for the whole thing. He says, no, get out. And he grabs the guy and he chucks him out. And this guy, all embarrassed, says, yeah, that's how you want to treat me? That's how everyone at the party sees me getting kicked out and no one wants to stand up for me? I'll give them a taste of their own medicine. So he goes over to the Caesar and he says, you know, Caesar, the Jews, mardu becha, the Jews don't like you anymore. He says, what are you talking about? The Jews love me. He says, no, it's not true. Watch. Bring a sacrifice. See if they even offer it on your behalf. He says, no problem. Do it. He takes a korban all the way to the temple. On the way, this guy, Bar Kamsa, a Jew, Bar Kamsa, takes a little knife. He makes a cut by the lip or by the eyelid. 2 opinions, 2 versions. Either way. On the way to the Beit HaMikdash, the rabbis, they get this korban and they see the animal's blemished. You can't bring a blemished animal, but it's from the Caesar. Maybe we make an exception. Shalom Malchut, for the peace, for the sake of the Jews. Eventually they decide not to bring it. The Caesar finds out and says to the Gemara, that was the beginning of the end. You know what dawned upon me just 2 days ago as I was reading this Gemara? This Jew, the problem with this story is the only thing he could think about was himself. He didn't think about other Jews. He didn't think about the suffering that other people are going to endure. I'm okay. I'll put them in trouble. And that's all that matters. My pain, my suffering. He didn't think of anybody else. And you know what I thought after that? That it actually goes way earlier. You see, what was the first Tish'a BeAb of history? Anyone know? What was the first Tish'a BeAb tragedy? First tragedy of Tish'a BeAb, the Gemara tells us, is when Moshe Rabbeinu sent 12 men to spy out the land of Israel. And they come back, it's 40 days later, with a negative report. And the spies spoke Lashon Hara, they spoke gossip, they're huge, they're monsters, they're giants, there's no way, we can't do it. And they ended up dying, the entire generation. And instead of going into Israel 3 days later, they went in, took them 39 years. And they were punished to stay in the desert. And everyone asks, how could it be that these men, these meraglim, these spies, who were, the Pasuk says, anashim, they were significant. They weren't yo-yos. They were big guys. Yehoshua ben Nun was one of them. You're talking about tzaddikim, high caliber people. How can it be that they came back with this report? How could it be that they spoke negatively about the land that God Himself is amazing? And the answer is that the spies, the Zohar tells us, thought about only themselves. And the spies said, you know, here we have fame. Here in the desert, we're princes. Each one of us is the head of a tribe. You're going to throw us into Israel? We're going to lose our prestige. We're going to lose our position. We're going to lose our status. And so what's amazing is that the first tragedy of Tish'a BeAb was because a few men thought only about themselves. What will I look like when Mashiach comes? What will be my position in Israel when we move in? How will my life look? Now it's great. Why would I want to go into Israel? Over there, it's going to be more difficult. Everything is made out of here. We don't have to go in there. And that's what the spies said. That's how, unfortunately, many of us think today. And if you ask a guy, is that how you think? You say, no way. Me? God forbid. But that's how we think. Because how many of us in the Amidah, we're praying, and all of a sudden we get to the brachot of Mashiach, and we rush right through it. We don't really want Mashiach. We don't really need Mashiach. Everything is fine. And like the spies, like Bar Kamta, we only think about ourselves. Right now, as we speak, our brothers and sisters are being bombarded with rockets. You look at the videos, it looks like the 4th of July. You would think it's fireworks. Thank God for the Iron Dome. And somehow, it's our fault because we're stronger or something. And this would never fly in any other country. Imagine one rocket were to come into America from Canada or from Mexico. Imagine one rocket were to go into any other country. One. Not 10 or 20 or 100. And forget if it landed or forget if it was a shot down. Even if it didn't make it, it ended up in the Atlantic Ocean. But there was an attempt. And here we are. And we go through this every couple of years. Another rocket attack. But we're okay here in America. We're not suffering. Unless we have a kid who's studying in yeshiva, then it becomes real and get on a plane quickly, come back home, come be safe here with us. And then once they're here, Baruch Hashem, we're good. We don't have to worry anymore. We don't have any more kids over there. Because we are selfish. Because we only think about ourselves. That's how it's been for the first 20 years of our lives. The only decisions we ever made were the ones that were the most convenient for us. And we never learned to start thinking about other people. And Tish'a BeAb is a day where we stop and we say, we are not okay. I'm okay. I got my parnasah, I got my children, I got my shiduchim, I'm okay. But Tish'a BeAb forces us to realize it's not about I, it's about we. We are not okay today. And if we could get one tiny thought into our heads of maybe for a split second thinking about somebody else in the world. I want to share with you a story. It took place in Lakewood. Right? Pesach Kron brings us down. Amazing story. I'm sure we all remember where we were 2 years ago in Pesach. COVID. And the doctors and the rabbis and everyone was saying, spend it alone. Don't spend it with your parents if you live in a separate house. Don't spend it with your kids. Don't spend it with friends and family. It's not worth it. Just let this year pass and you'll have many more Pesachs Be'ezrat Hashem together. And we all said, Amen. Okay, let's do it. And we spend it alone. I remember where you were for Pesach 2 years? I remember where I was. It was amazing. With my kids alone, it was the best Pesach. No in-laws. No kidding. My kids by myself, I got to get real deep with my kids and see Yetziat Mitzrayim through their eyes. It was a beautiful seder. Well, in Lakewood, there was a lady who her husband just passed away a few months earlier, and so she was going to spend Pesach by herself. She was all alone. And that's what the doctors were saying, that's what the rabbis were saying, and so she was ready to do it. And all of a sudden, she gets a phone call from her neighbors in Lakewood. They call her up. They say, we're going to be alone for the Seder. We know that you're going to be alone for the Seder. And we were thinking that actually we noticed that your dining room opens up, the window to the dining room opens up to the garden in the backyard. And the other side of the garden is our living room. And so we were just thinking, maybe, just maybe, if we moved our dining room table to our living room, we could open up our window, you can open up your window, and we could celebrate Pesach through the garden. She said, that would be amazing. You would do that for me? I said, of course we do that for you. I said, oh my God, that's so special. And then a few days before Pesach, she gets a phone call again. He said, listen, we got to do like a practice test. We got to run it once, make sure everything runs smoothly. So why don't we try it for Shabbat HaGadol? Let's try the system. Go to your kitchen, dining room table, open up the window. We'll do Kiddush Shabbat. We'll spend one Shabbat to see if there are any mistakes that need to be fixed before Pesach. She said, unbelievable. And they run one Shabbat and it was great. And then a few hours before Pesach, the morning of, she gets a knock on the door and she sees the neighbor with the mask and everything, and she sees them dropping something on the front door, and she looks down and she sees it's a ke'ara with all of the items set up, all the different foods of Pesach, the matzot and the maror and the charoset. And she was so touched. She thanks them, you guys are so thoughtful. And she brings in the ke'ara, she sets it up. Pesach night, she opens her window, they move their table, they start doing the seder together, and they went till 1:30 in the morning. Amazing. 1:45, she gets a knock on her door. She opens the door, it's her kids. Hey, Mom, Hag Sameach, how's it going? We walked over right after our seder just to say hi from the window, to see how you're doing. We don't want to come in, but how was the seder? And she said, amazing. Best seder of my life. She said, whoa, Mom, I don't know about best seder of your life. We weren't there. What do you mean best seder? It was okay. She said, no. Best seder of my life. What do you mean best seder of your life? She's like, it was so beautiful. They opened the window, we sang, we ate, we did. And by the way, did you know, she says to her son, did you know that they're German like us? He's like, what are you talking about? Mom, they're German. She said to her son, they're German. They did the songs that we do. They did the customs that we do. Who would have ever thought that? They're Yekish. Who would have thought that? And the son starts laughing. He says, Mom, they're not German. She's like, what do you mean? They're German. Of course they're German. How do they know all the songs? And he laughs and he says, Mom, I'll tell you. A couple of weeks ago, when they invited you to do the seder through the garden, the father called me up and he says, I know you guys are German. You follow German customs. Could you please send me all of the songs that you guys do at the seder so that I could practice it and do it your way on Leil HaPesach? Isn't that amazing? You know, it's one thing to invite the lady to do the seder. And if you did that, you're a tzaddik in my eyes. And it's another thing that you put the ke'ara and you set it up for her. And if you did that, you're a bigger tzaddik. But to switch around your whole seder for one lady, this is Am Yisrael. This is, my friends, what it means to think about somebody else. A family in Israel, every summer they would go on a trip, they would rent an RV and they would drive up and do a road trip throughout the north and the south. And they would have their itinerary. We're going to go here, we're going to eat this for lunch, and in a very tight budget. Not a wealthy family, Kolel family, but we're going to figure it out. Take sandwiches with us and peanut butters and cream cheese and choco and whatever you got to do, and we're going to figure it out Israeli style. And they had the itinerary, nobody deviates. We go the first day here, the second day there, the third day there. Beautiful. Well, the trip begins. They drive up, first stop to Netanya, on the beach. Beautiful day. They're ready to move on to the next stop. The kid needs the bathroom. Okay? It's not on the itinerary, but go to the bathroom. Where are you going to go to the bathroom? Middle of the beach. So, they were eco-friendly. They made sure to go to a bathroom. They go to the restaurant. The kids go to the car with the mom. The dad goes with his son. He walks into the restaurant. You think it's okay if my son uses the bathroom? We're not eating here, but he really needs to use the tesh. Okay, listen, she looks around. The waitress says, okay, quickly go. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Kid goes to the bathroom. He comes out. Asher Yatzar, washes his hands. As they're walking out of the restaurant, they hear the manager yelling, who do you think you are? What do you think this is? A free bathroom service? You just come in and you use our bathroom? You and all these other religious people? What kind of thing is this? Who gave you permission? You ganavim? You thieves? No one allowed it? And the guy turns around and he sees in the back the waitress who's shivering. And she's red in the face because she gave him permission. And the guy looks at her. And all of a sudden, he looks at the manager. And without batting an eyelash, he says, sir, you got it all wrong. We are here to eat. What? I'm so sorry. What? You here? You eating here? Says, yeah, of course. What do you mean? It's lunch. We got to eat. We came to eat. So, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Just like all these people, they come in, they use our bathroom from the beach. It's not fair. He's like, no, sir. We're here to eat. We came to eat. Kids, go tell mommy the restaurant's ready to have us. So, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, sir. Thank you. Mechila, sorry for screaming at you. How many people? We're 9. 9. The guy hit the jackpot. 9 people. Wow, beautiful. Come on in. Sets them up. The kids, they come in. They have no idea what's going on. It's not on the itinerary. But sit down. Okay, we sit down. Order. Every item is 60 shekel, 70 shekel. They're used to spending 60 shekel for the whole family for dinner. Dad, are you serious? Order, eat, go ahead, on me, kids, don't worry. How's he going to pay for this? He has no idea. But they start ordering. Each kid's ordering another item. Finally, at the end of the meal, they notice commotion going on in the kitchen. All of a sudden, all the waiters, waitresses, they come out with a plate of dessert, little cake, and an ice cream, and that sparkling thing that they give you for your birthday. And each kid, every person gets their own dessert. And the man looks at them and says, I think there's a mistake. We didn't order dessert. And the manager comes out and he says, let me tell you, the waitress came in running after you guys sat down. And she explained the whole thing to me. She explained how she gave you permission. And she explained how as I was yelling at you, you saw her in the back shaking. And she thought that you were going to tell me that it was her that allowed it. And she said, I was already thinking in my head, how am I going to get out of this? I'm probably going to get fired. Which job? Where could I go? I was already thinking of my next job opportunity. And then all of a sudden, I saw how you started recreating an entire scenario in your head. And instead of blaming me, to save me, you decided to eat here. Sir, you are a very special man. The dessert's on us. Well, the man was appreciative. He sat down, they ate the dessert. He asks for the bill. They come, they present him the bill. He opens it, there's no bill. There's a paper that says, anytime you eat here, 50% off. Okay, we'll have dinner here. He says, excuse me, there's a mistake, there's no bill. He says, sir, in this restaurant, we charge people. But you are a malach. You are an angel. This meal's on us. This is what it means, Rabotai, to think about Am Yisrael. We pray every day. And I started thinking that the Amidah is divided into 3. The first section is called Shevach. What does that mean? Praise. The second section, Bakasha. What does that mean? Request. The third section, Hoda'ah. What does that mean? To thank. That's how our Amidah is built. We begin by praising God, Ata Gibor, Ata Kadosh. Then we go into the middle brachot, where we ask God. And then we end with Modim, where we thank God. But then I realized that there's a bracha that doesn't fit. After we say Modim, there's all of a sudden Sim Shalom. You ever notice this? This bothered me. I never found a good answer to this question. But all of a sudden you get to Sim Shalom and you're back to asking, please give us bracha, this, chen, chesed. What happened? The request was in the middle section. This is delayed. It doesn't belong here. This is the thank you section. What is it doing in the thank you section? And I thought, this is my own idea. Feel free to argue. But I said, maybe our rabbis are trying to help drive home this point. After we say, God, Modim anachnu lach, thank you. I have an amazing wife. I have an amazing family. I have kids. I got shalom. I have it all. Then we close our eyes and we say, but not everyone does. There are people that are still suffering. There are people out there that still do want Mashiach. And so, Sim Shalom, God, please. I can't be fully happy here. And in Chatan and Kala, on this happiest day of their life, they take a cup and they break it. because they also realize I can't only think about myself. And maybe I found my special one, but there are many people that did not. Maybe we're happy, but how can I forget Jerusalem? Im eshkachech Yerushalayim al rosh simchati. So this is our responsibility on Tish'a BeAb, to realize that we need to get out of here. And it's not okay. And throughout the year, maybe I feel like it is. But today, no matter how rich you are, you cannot eat. And no matter how successful you are, you don't spend time with your spouse. We separate because there are people that don't have a spouse yet. And don't give your kids a kiss because some people are longing for that child that they can kiss. Isn't that amazing? So one day a year, act as if you are in the pain, suffering, the experience that the people around you are suffering. When God came to Moshe, He said to Moshe, the 4 leshonot geula, vehotzeti, vehitzalti, vega'alti, velakachti. And each one represents another idea. The first one, vehotzeti, what does that mean, vehotzeti? Vehotzeti is I'm going to take you out. Vehotzeti etchem mitachat sivlot Mitzrayim. I will take you out of the sivlot of Egypt. And simply, what does that mean? I will remove you from the suffering of Mitzrayim. But what else does lisvol mean? Anyone know? Lisvol also means to tolerate. God said, first step is I got to take you out of tolerance mode. Because so long that you think it's okay here in Egypt, so long that you don't think you need a redemption, I cannot redeem you. So step number 1 is to realize we are in trouble. We need a redemption. Stop tolerating galut. But I'm okay. I'm fine. Today is not about I. Today is about we. The person sitting right next to you could be going something that you have going through something that you have no idea about. And today is about us. That is a successful Tish'a BeAb. A successful Tish'a BeAb is a Tish'a BeAb that we realize that we need to get out of here. And that is the first step. And if we can do that, then God says, I can now comfort you. If I would tell you in the middle of the year, calm down, be comforted, you would say, comforted? What do you mean, comforted? Why are you comforting me? I didn't lose anyone recently. I'm okay. If you tell someone in the middle of the year, just go to somebody random in October, say, Tenachamu min hashamayim. What do you mean, Tenachamu? I'm fine. You have the wrong guy. Baruch Hashem. On Tish'a BeAb, we realize that we're not fine. We need neshama. Nachamu, nachamu ami. And so throughout the next week, because we've internalized this message, we are being comforted. Rabotai, just to end with one idea. We had this year, Tish'a BeAb fell out on Shabbat. And we know we ate. We ate yesterday, we enjoyed, we sang meat, wine, whatever you like, gefilte fish, whatever's your jam. Why don't we fast on Shabbat? You're allowed to fast. I mean, we have Tish'a BeAb. We have Yom Kippur on Shabbat. Why don't we celebrate Tish'a BeAb? So the answer simply is because Tish'a BeAb is a day that we're supposed to be sad and can't be sad on Shabbat. But the Shlach HaKadosh says something else. The Shlach HaKadosh says something very powerful. He says the reason you can't fast on Shabbat is because we know one of the laws of Shabbat, there's 39 forbidden melachot. You can't cook, you can't put on a fire, you can't write. And one of the forbidden melachot on Shabbat is boneh. What does that mean, boneh? To build. You can't build on Shabbat. It says the Shlach, when we mourn, Kol hamit'abel al Yerushalayim zocheh will be meriting its rebuilding. By mourning on Tish'a BeAb, we are building. And you can't build on Shabbat. So don't mourn on Shabbat. Isn't that powerful? And that is why, says Rabbi Bernstein, we sit on the floor. Because where else do you start building from? So on Tish'a BeAb, we are building the foundations that we need. Today we stop. Take a step back. We're not watching Netflix. We're not learning Torah. We're not eating, and we don't say hi to people. Because maybe throughout the year we forget to think about other people. And so on Tish'a BeAb, one day a year, we say, you know what? Maybe I haven't thought about people enough, and as a, so to speak, lesson, on purpose, don't say hi to anyone. Go see what it feels like to be alone. It's not so fun. If the goal of today is how do I get through this fast as possible, then we have failed. The goal of today is not how can I get through the fast, but how can the fast get through me. A guy came to the rabbi and he said, Rabbi, I don't mean to be chutzpah, but why do we need Mashiach? Life's okay. I mean, what's he going to add? And there's another kid in the classroom. He raises his hand and he says, Rebbe, the reason I want Mashiach, and he points to his wheelchair that he's sitting in, is so that I could one day be able to walk again. So today we remind ourselves that we are not alone in this world. And if we are pain-free, Am Yisrael is not. Not our brothers and sisters in Israel, and nor anywhere else in the world. By internalizing the pain and sharing in the pain of everyone around us, we'll be zocheh be'ezrat Hashem to a rebuilding of the Beit HaMikdash. Together we will welcome Mashiach b'mehera b'yameinu. Amen.